What's going on, guys? So it's Friday, September 14th, and let's go ahead and talk about this National Solar Observatory situation. So about a week ago, this happened on September 6th, the FBI went in and locked down and evacuated very suspiciously this whole observatory in New Mexico. Now, for the first couple days, this was only reported in local news, but come about September 11th or 12th, this hit the mainstream, and then this story just spread like wildfire. Everybody began hearing about it. I started seeing a lot of kind of clickbait, sensationalist claims made about it. But of course, with the lack of details we have about this situation, just everybody was confused. A lot of people are speculating different things. I went ahead and did some research into this, and I want to share with you guys a lot of what I found here. Now, before we get into that, I just want to talk about exactly what the National Solar Observatory is and where it is, to give you guys a little bit of background. So the NSO, the National Solar Observatory, was originally created in the 1950s, and it was created by the Air Force, actually. It was owned and operated by the Air Force to study the sun, the physics and the optics of the sun for a few decades, and in 1976, the NSO was passed from the Air Force along to the National Science Foundation, and that's when it became a public research institute. So since the 1970s, this facility, actually the National Solar Observatory, is a few facilities. It's actually headquartered here in Boulder, Colorado, that I'm in right now. Been thinking about just going knocking on the door and see if they can give me any details. But the specific facility that was evacuated was located on Sacramento Peak in Sunspot, New Mexico. Now let's take a look at this particular facility and where it's located. Going to bring up Google Maps here. So you can see this is where Sunspot, New Mexico is. That's where this particular facility of the National Solar Observatory is operated, and you can see that this facility actually it's facing this direction, it's facing west, and it has basically an unobstructed view of Holloman Air Force Base and the White Sands testing facility. So keep that in mind. That's a very crucial piece of data to deduce what the heck is going on at this observatory. So they have an unobstructed view of Holloman Air Force Base. Now, at Holloman Air Force Base, there's been a lot of weird stuff going on there for decades. Could be testing of secret weaponry, secret technologies, who knows? But given that this observatory faces it, keep that in mind. And that being said, okay, so you know what the National Observatory is, who founded it, who it's operated by now, where it is. Let's talk a little bit about all the clickbaity, sensationalist claims that I've seen come out about this situation before I tell you my own particular feelings, the possibilities that I think of what's going on here. So the first thing that I began seeing just spreading like wildfire, sensationalist claim, was that this observatory was closed because of a geomagnetic storm. I saw this reported on Zero Hedge on 9/11. They said the National Solar Observatory mysteriously closed as geomagnetic storm looms. Not only that, but I saw, say, this headline in the Express. They claimed that a super solar flare to wipe out humanity. Theorists fear after solar observatory shut down. So as you can see, very clickbait, very sensationalist. But like I mentioned in one of my videos in previous days, if you actually check solarham.net, one of my favorite websites to check to actually track solar weather, there has been no real big geomagnetic storms, no super solar flare, nothing of that concern to worry about. So, like I said, clickbait, sensationalist, don't fear. I don't think that it's being evacuated and shut down because of a geomagnetic storm at this moment. Next thing we're seeing that's being put into the headlines to really clickbait and actually discredit, put out a particular narrative. I'm seeing a lot of headlines say this: alien conspiracy theories swirl after FBI evacuates space observatory and refuses to say why. So alien conspiracy theories. This one on CNET: mysterious observatory evacuation stirs alien conspiracy theories. So of course, in these mainstream media propaganda outlets, they're being used, or I should say this event is being used to spread that discrediting, ridiculing narrative of, quote, alien conspiracy theories. So keep that in mind. This event is being used to spread multiple narratives, multiple pieces of sensationalism and clickbait, of course, to muddy the waters, to confuse us all about it. So when you see these headlines, be able to separate and discern what is the misinformation, what's the sensationalism, and what's the objective truth about it, okay? I always, one of the things I try to do on this channel is to squash that sensationalism, come at things very objectively, right? Okay, now one more thing I want to get to, piece of kind of clickbait, some misinformation that was put out there before I get into my own thoughts and theories and plausibilities of this. I've seen this particular blog post being spread around quite a bit in regards to this solar observatory evacuation situation. So this blog post came out yesterday, and it says 6 more solar observatories closed, and this could be the reason. And what they're claiming is that, okay, the National Solar Observatory in Sunspot, New Mexico, that was shut down. Unfortunately, this blog says it has some wrong information in there. It says it was shut down on September 9th. It was actually shut down on September 6th. Now, on September 9th, we had a woman on Facebook. She's actually I think she's in my Facebook group, but her photos that she posted was posted to my Facebook group. Anyway, she started sharing these photographs that she took of the sun with a lot of anomalous objects in it. Now, these could be real anomalous objects in these photographs. Photographs could be legit. I'm not quashing the legitimacy of the photographs here. What I'm quashing is the connections that people are trying to make between these photographs and the solar observatory. Like I said, this blog post tries to say that the observatory was shut down on the 9th. It was shut down on the 6th. These photographs came out on the 9th. So what I'm feeling is that they're actually unrelated. A lot of people are, again, getting sensationalist and thinking that these photographs are related to the observatory being evacuated. I don't think that's the case. So now let's ask, now that we've gone through all of those kind of misconstrued data points that people are getting, right? They're thinking it has to do with geomagnetic storms. Of course, the alien conspiracy narratives are getting put out there. A lot of people are thinking these photographs are connected to the observatory evacuations in some way. But all of those things, in my opinion, are, I don't want to say debunked, because I hate that word, but they are misconstrued, is what I want to say. So let's go ahead and ask ourselves, what's possibly going on? What are the plausibilities? And I'm going to speculate and theorize here for you guys. There's about 3 to 4 different possibilities that I'm seeing. Number 1, of course, something going on with the sun that they don't want us to see. Now, there's a lot going on with the sun that they are trying to, or that they haven't told us, let's just say. Now, of course, we went through solarham.net and showed that, okay, there's no geomagnetic storm that's looming, etc., etc. But it could be that they are trying to prevent the viewing of the sun by various observatories, and could be something else going on with the sun, right? I'm going to reference a post I saw on 8chan right here that I tweeted, and it's actually a list of multiple observatories that their camera feeds were taken offline with. And you can see there's like 12 of them around not just the country, but the world that are getting taken offline. So yeah, it could totally be that there's something going on with the sun they don't want us to see. There's a lot of things going on with the sun we're actually expecting. We are expecting a large solar flash, or solar sneeze, as it's been called, to occur. This has everything to do with the cycles that are changing, the galactic cycles that we're moving into, the age of Aquarius. All of the ancient cultures were prophesizing various things going on with the sun, and there's actually a lot of scientific evidence to show that our sun is going to go through a quantum shift per se. Now, this isn't something that's going to be visible on solarham.net, but who knows? Maybe they are trying to prevent us from seeing that. Number 2, is there craft in the sky? Is there some sort of ET or man-made secret space program craft that's being picked up on these observatories that, again, some groups, who knows what groups as well, we don't know exactly if it's black hats or white hats shutting down these observatories, who knows, but is there some craft in the sky that particular insider groups don't want us to see? Very plausible, in my opinion. Like I mentioned, these photographs picked up some very large objects. Granted, it was days after these observatories were taken down, but I've seen a lot of photographs just within the past few weeks of people taking pictures of weird craft in the sky. So again, could be one reason that many of these observatories are going offline. We know anytime the International Space Station live feed picks up a weird craft, some craft just materializes in the camera feed, they instantly take that offline. So again, this could be one thing that's going on. Craft up in space they don't want us to see. Number 3, and this one, in my opinion, might be the most plausible. Again, it could be a mixture of any of these possibilities that I'm laying out to you. But number 3, I think there could be some sort of espionage that's going on at these observatories. It could be such that some rogue intelligence agency or rogue group has been utilizing these observatories either for some sort of communication, could be communication to platforms in space, secret space installations, facilities, craft, etc., or they're using these observatories as some sort of as intelligence gathering. Remember what I told you, the location of this observatory directly overlooks Holloman Air Force Base. Not only that, but all of these observatories around the globe, I mean, what if they were originally created or have they been used for years for intelligence gathering by rogue groups, right? Totally plausible. Not only intelligence gathering, but like I said, communication. So what if many of these observatories are being shut down, much like the CIA satellites that were shut down by the Q team, or announced by the Q team, just in recent weeks? This could be along the same lines of that. These observatories being used by rogue groups, by, people who have access to these secret space programs or to various black projects programs, and their espionage, their intelligence gathering is being shut off. Their communication is being shut off by white hat groups. Is that a plausibility? Could be. I think that might be the most plausible. But again, could be any and all of these situations that I'm laying out to you here. So whatever the case is, last point I want to make here before I go, whatever the case is, they want attention on this regardless. Because if this was a cover-up, we wouldn't be hearing anything about it right now. If this was a cover-up, they could cover it up without any of it reaching the news, right? So just the fact that this hit the local news and then this hit the mainstream news, and we're seeing this reported in the mainstream as, oh wow, there's a whole gag order being in place, sheriffs, local deputies have no idea what's going on, there's Black Hawk helicopters circling the place, just the fact that this is getting into the media means that whoever is evacuating and shutting down these observatories, want this to be known. They want eyes on this, right? It's a really bad cover-up, right? That being said, they want attention on it, so I think whatever is going to manifest out of this situation, out of this story, whether we do hear about some stuff going on with the sun, whether we do hear about some sort of craft or things in the sky from whoever, whether it's man-made craft or ET craft, or whether it is some sort of espionage or deeper things going on with these observatories that aren't just to study the sun, what if it is to gather intelligence or to communicate by rogue groups, whatever it is, any and all of those 3 or more, they want us to know. They want to pique people's interests. They want people to start getting curious and paying attention to the sun, to what's going on in outer space, and to these observatories. So anyway, that's all the information that I wanted to share with you guys now. A lot of clickbait, a lot of sensationalism out there about this story. Just wanted to bring you guys some objective information, objective truths about it. I will continue to follow this story, so make sure you like, subscribe, follow along with the information I'm putting out, and I'll continue to update you guys on it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for following along. I'll be talking to you guys very soon. Done.